everyone, and welcome to the Daily HUD, where we give you the latest esports news. I'm Sierra, and joining me is our new host, Dom. Really happy to have you here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. You might recognize me previously of Riot Games, specifically the LCS and the LPL, but today I am here to cover some more league action and, of course, more, because we've got the LCS, the LEC, we've got some Splatoon, we've got some Smash Ultimate, we've got Magic the Gathering, World of Warcraft. It was a great weekend for esports, so let's just dive right into it.
Yeah, let's get after it. This weekend, the LEC started their first round playoff matches with Fnatic and Vitality on Friday and SK Gaming with Splice on Saturday. The results were exactly how they were predicted to be.
Now in Game 1, Fnatic brought out a low, hard-engaged team with the jungle Karthus pick, but because of that pick, Vitality brought in a more aggressive composition with the Ezreal and Lucian, along with the Jarvan and Braum for engage. At the start of the match, both were on par with each other and keeping it at a stalemate during the early game. At the 23 and 40 minute mark, though, a hard engage by Team Vitality turned sour. With every major key ultimate burned, they were forced to disengage. But Fnatic were after blood, and they picked up 3 kills with an Ocean Drake and an easy Baron pickup. Now at the final 34-minute mark, Fnatic went for an all-out attack to push back Vitality. With an open window, they were able to destroy the Nexus and secure the game win.
In Game 1, under Fnatic's belt, Vitality went back to the drawing board to see where they can meet Fnatic at even ground. With the second game going underway, it was pretty clear that Fnatic came in strong and ready.
Now moving into Game 2, Fnatic stuck with a passive composition as the Karthus jungle pick was brought out yet again. Now Vitality did not change their game plan either, and they also went in with an aggressive composition. At first, Vitality kept Fnatic at a distance and picked off their stragglers during the laning phase, though the early game was tipping on their side. Of course, at the 18-minute mark, Fnatic showed Vitality that they were never actually in control, and they were able to take a dominant map advantage in the mid lane by taking out 2 Vitality members. Again, at the 23-minute mark, Vitality initiated a mid lane siege, only for their own engage to turn back against them. And with the front line and top lane all taken out, the team fight opened the door for an AD carry kill and an uncontested Baron. Now finally, at the 28-minute mark, Fnatic initiated their final team fight with Vitality pushed up against their Nexus. They had no choice but to fight it out and unfortunately lose the game after 3 members of Vitality ended up falling.
Okay, with Fnatic at game point, questions for Vitality's playstyle came into the scene. Fnatic looking confident to return back to the stage, get their last win, and everyone didn't doubt Fnatic would have the strong opening, especially with a 2-0 lead.
Absolutely, and of course on Game 3, match point, both Fnatic and Vitality decided to switch up their compositions and playstyles with each other, both taking an aggressive composition. Now the entire world knew it was all or nothing for both of these teams, but Fnatic debuted the newly reworked Kayle with Nemesis taking her. Meanwhile, in the early game, Fnatic showed no mercy to Team Vitality and were able to pick them off one by one. Of course, about 18 minutes into the game, Nemesis showed Kayle's true power with an intense jungle fight that ended with a triple kill at the cost of his own life. Finally, at the 21-minute mark, Nemesis and his Kayle closed out the game with a Kayle pentakill and swift Nexus destruction following it. Fnatic ended the series with a 3-0 lead, moving on to the quarterfinals. Now after that first huge game on day 1, SK Gaming and Splice went at it again on day 2. Now SK Gaming was able to get 1 win on the board, but fell short to Splice after game 1 and the entire set. Splice was the team that ended up moving on to the quarterfinals. With the LEC Game 1s finished, we're now looking towards the quarterfinals. In match 1, the 2 winners of the first round will face off, with Fnatic and Splice looking to topple the other. Splice has not yet faced Fnatic in the playoff run, so questions of the matchup are in the air. Now in the second match of the quarterfinals, the first 2 seeds of the regular season will face off to advance straight to the grand finals. The matches are going to take place at the end of this week, with Fnatic and Splice started on Friday, April 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Then on Saturday, April 6th at 12 p.m. Eastern, Origin and G2 get a chance to go head-to-head. And I just want to say, I am so excited for this juggernaut-style format from the LEC tournament. It looks super cool.
A lot of league action happening, but we're not quite done yet. The LCS started off their playoff run with anticipation going up. Fans themselves were questioning more on the FlyQuest and Golden Guardians matchup than they did Team Solo Mid in the Echo Fox game. On Saturday, FlyQuest defeated Golden Guardians in a full 5-game set and a 3-2 victory.
Now moving on to the match of the day, Team Solo Mid took on Echo Fox in a day of the quarterfinals. It was an underdog story for Echo Fox against the veritable Titans themselves, but they came in confident and they came in swinging. Now starting off in Game 1, TSM was looking to have a more lane-dominant strategy, while Echo Fox stayed with the more jungle-dominant composition with their own Kindred pick, but both of the teams had the objective of domination on their mind. For most of the early game, both of the teams were at a stalemate until TSM made the first move and took the lead until about the 36-minute mark. Where the tables turned on TSM was when an engage turned south on their own side. The Echo Fox team was able to pick off the backline and continued the fight on their own side, with the team fight ending up as an ace for Echo Fox. This allowed them to push through the mid lane and close out the Game 1 with a victory against TSM.
With Game 1 going to the underdog, now all eyes are on Echo Fox to try and take down the giants of TSM. But at the time, the series wasn't finished and TSM regrouped again for Game 2.
And the champ select on Game 2 showed that TSM, of course, were ready to adapt to Echo Fox's strategy and immediately banned out the win condition from last game, that Kindred pick. Now, Echo Fox and TSM are both on even playing fields, with both teams taking an even more balanced composition between engage and, of course, lane phase throughout the early game. Both teams played it carefully until TSM made the first move in the game, and thus they were able to keep their lead. At the 25-minute mark, it showed that TSM had Echo Fox's number and engaged a clean team fight, taking down 4 of the 5 members of Echo Fox with no casualties on the TSM side. Finally, at the 32-minute mark, TSM pushed back into Echo Fox, taking a decisive Nexus win and fighting them to take down the series. With Game 3 ending in a similar fashion for TSM, they now lead the series 2-1 going into the final match. Set point for TSM versus Echo Fox. With series point on the line, Echo Fox was in a state of do or die. Both teams came in with aggressive compositions, but the main question was who would make the final daring move to secure the series. At first, Echo Fox looked promising in holding off TSM, but as is always the case, the tables turned as every fight they engaged with went south and had no results. TSM's dominance stayed put up until the 41-minute mark, where they pushed back the Echo Fox base and took down the Nexus for their 3rd win of the series, allowing them to advance to the next round of playoffs.
With the quarterfinals for the LCS done and in the books, the current bracket is starting to fill up, with Team Liquid choosing to take on FlyQuest and Cloud9 going up against Team Solo Mid.
And I've got to say, I'm so excited for that TSM Cloud9 rematch. These two teams have been going head-to-head since 2013. I think this is going to be the 6th year in a row that we get to see them clash once again. I cannot wait to see that happen.
Yeah, no, it'll be a match to watch, definitely, for sure. The matches will take place this week. On Saturday, April 6th, Cloud9 look to end TSM's streak and knock them out of playoffs. Their match will begin at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on Sunday, April 7th, Team Liquid and FlyQuest go head-to-head, with Team Liquid looking to advance to the finals to defend their championship title. That match will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And let's just move on to the Call of Duty. The final cross-divisional matches are in Week 5, and they took place last week. The results were clean and clear for most of the teams. In the first match, Team UYU win against Team Envy. The day before, questions rose on the current roster. They were looking to stomp those questions, but unfortunately they didn't do themselves justice, dropping all 3 games in the series to Team Envy. Envy showed they were the better team in this matchup, outsmarting and outplaying all members of UYU.
In the next match, E United took on Red Reserve, but unlike the previous match, this series was a lot closer. After losing to the top team of the division, E United looked to gain a momentum spike to end the week, but Red Reserve wasn't going to let them go without a fight. With both teams taking games back and forth, it was E United who closed out the series with a 3-2 score.
With the final match of Week 5, it was time for Heretics to test their luck against the #1 team, Luminosity. With Luminosity trying to finish the week on a positive note, Heretics is already at a point and we're just looking to gain a streak of momentum. Taking down the #1 team seemed like the goal within reach. In the set, Luminosity and Heretics went back and forth and tied the series at 2-2 until Heretics took the final game in a close finish. Okay, with week 6 taking place today, we'll be looking at the results tomorrow, but on day 2, the games will go on. Starting off with Optic Gaming against Denial Esports, then Reciprocity will take on Enigma 6. Afterwards, 100 Thieves look to show that their roster is still in good shape against Midnight. And then, to close out the day, Splice will go head-to-head with Genji, it was.
Yes, Gen G. Of course, these matches will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern Time with the last week underway. It's going to be anyone's game. Now, moving on to PAX East 2019, there were some big announcements for Borderlands fans. We mentioned those guns with legs just a few days ago. Now, Gearbox Software has officially announced the latest installment of the Borderlands series. Borderlands 3 was shown off at PAX East, and the reception was absolutely wild. I know I've been on the edge of my seat for years for this one, as fans have been waiting for 5 years for the new installment in the series. Now, the developer showed off a little bit of what's in store for the new game, though no announcement past just the fact that it's in development has been given. So, still not quite sure when it's coming out, but we do know that it is being developed.
Also at PAX East, they had their share of tournaments as well. Nintendo Splatoon 2 Inkling opening finals went underway. For the finals of Splatoon 2 tournament, there were 2 teams from different regions and they battled it out to be the crowned champion. For the win and Low Key were the top finalists of the series in a best of 5 checkpoint match. Both teams put in their hard work over the past few months, and they came to the test with both teams at a tie with a 3-3 score.
Now, it ended up being FTW for the win that took the Game 7 and became the Splatoon 2 North American champions. Now, Splatoon 2 wasn't the only Nintendo game to get some action. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate held their own North American finals also at PAX East. With the final 2 regions of the South and the Northeast going at it in the finals, it was a close match with Poltergust and Seth taking the set to a 5-game matchup. With both regions tied at 2 for 2, it was Poltergust finally with the Wii Fit trainer that ended up taking the win, which earned himself and his region the title. But I don't think that's all that happened at PAX East.
Yeah, there were a couple other games that we just wanted to go over today, right?
Yeah, there absolutely were.
Perfect. So the Magic Gathering Mythic Invitational, what can you tell me about that?
So the Magic the Gathering Mythic Invitational was an invitational Magic the Gathering arena tournament of invites of the best MTG arena players. So you could not qualify, you had to be invited yourself. And yesterday we got to see our top 4. We had Glagowski, Savitz, Strosky, and Mengucci, which if your parents are tuning in to just this section of the video, it'll sound like chess and it'll be totally legitimate. But absolutely fantastic tournament.
Wow, that's incredible. I can't believe that they were invited to that tournament. Who should we keep our eyes on in the next match?
So the game that you want to watch out for in this tournament was actually just before the finals themselves. It was Savitz versus Glagowski. Now, Peter Glagowski was running a mono-red, mono-blue combination deck, whereas Savitz was just running the meta Esper Control and a white weenie deck. But the Game 3 of that best of 3 series had everyone on the edge of their seats. Whenever it would pan to the crowd, you could see people standing along the sides of the arena outside of the seating area to watch it. Absolutely, if you've got the time, go check out the VOD for that Game 3. It's fantastic.
Awesome, great. I definitely will. So in your opinion, what was the best match?
That one right there, that
right,
Game 3
exactly.
between Glagowski and Savitz. Now, tragically, actually, I'm not even going to, well, I guess we are the esports channel. I am going to spoil it. Savitz did end up dropping at the end.
Oh, no.
And it was Glagowski who advanced to the finals to play against Mengucci, and Mengucci ended up taking the grand finals of the Mythic Invitational for a $250,000 cash prize. Big win for Mengucci.
He might have a lot more friends now with that win, don't you think?
Very well possible. He's been playing for, I think he's quoted at saying he plays 8 to 10 hours of Magic a day.
Oh my goodness.
As a professional player.
Wow.
Before the event, he was also saying that he in the lobby to the hotel before the tournament, before even getting into his room, because he arrived early, just sat in the hotel lobby playing and practicing and working with his team to come up with compositions, strategies, and ways to deal with different out-of-meta decks.
What an incredibly focused player. So let's move on to the World of Warcraft Mythic Invitational. Who was battling it out?
Sure, so the WoW Invitational also happened yesterday at about the same time. We had like 5 tournaments all going on at once. We had Method EU and Method NA, the 2 sister teams who advanced to the finals, and this was also the Mythic Invitational, the Western Cup. So I believe on the 5th we're also going to be seeing the Mythic Invitational Eastern Cup for a chance to see even more teams compete. And that one really had us on the edge of our seats, but ultimately it was Method EU who proved to be, I suppose, the bigger sister of the 2 sister teams and ended up taking the series 2-0.
Very nice, very nice. So the NorCal Regionals, let's get into a speed round. Tell me, who won Tekken?
Okay, Tekken, that's going to be Peeling and Jimmy J. Tran.
Okay, King of Fighters?
King of Fighters, we saw E.T. and Xiaohai in first place.
Windjammer?
Southpaw and Atomic winning it all.
Soul Calibur?
Link Wars and Blue God as your winner.
And Street Fighter?
Now, Street Fighter is actually something I want to talk about a little.
Okay.
I know we're in a speed round. We're trying to race through all of these things. The Street Fighter V finals was fantastic. We got to see Punk versus Takedo. And if you know anything about Street Fighter, you know that Takedo he's the demon. He's one of the best Street Fighter players of all time. He came in strong. There weren't a lot of doubts for how he was going to play, but Punk came in. He dropped early into the losers bracket, climbed up through the bottom, through the ladder, taking his time through every opponent. I think he had one match that looked like it might have been close, but when he came into the finals, he gave Takedo a run for his money, going to Game 5 not once, but twice when he reset the bracket. Absolutely stellar match. Again, if you've got any free time this weekend, absolutely recommend watching that VOD. But ultimately, the Demon once again claimed yet another victim. Takedo was victorious and won that Street Fighter V match. But hey, let's get back to the speed round.
All right, Street Fighter is always a fan favorite, but tell me a little bit about Dragon Ball.
Yeah, Dragon Ball, we got to see the return of Kazunoko, but ultimately it was Goichi who ended up taking the victory.
Not bad. And Super Smash?
Our second Super Smash tournament of the weekend, we saw Xax and Louise becoming the champion, with his, of course, trademark Fox.
Okay, wow, that was a lot of action to cover over this weekend. Thank you so much, Dom. That's it for today's coverage of the day, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel for the latest updates in esports news. Once again, I'm Sierra, and this is my co-host, Dom. He's awesome.
I certainly hope to be,
Welcome
yes.
to the team.
But
we love
again,
it.
on behalf of myself and the entire esports channel, thank you so much for watching. We wish you a good night. GG.
Thank you, good night.